Welcome back, everyone. In this short video, I will explain what I do when I get drawing ideas that are in my head, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Basically, drawing ideas that you get in your head, or it could be just about anything. It could be an invention, some drawing concept, story that came to mind. In this case, I'm going to be focusing on drawing ideas and how you can capture those ideas, which then you can use later on. All right, so let's begin. So this first example that I'm showing, I had an idea of drawing a series of clowns.
What else could he be but a jester? A jester? A jester? A funny idea, a jester.
Just jesters from the medieval period, since I love anything, just about anything medieval. And so the point of this video is not about having these amazing drawings. It's about when you get an idea, you could be while you're showering, while you're driving, while you're just having coffee or you're working out. Basically, when you're not thinking about that amazing idea, you're busy doing something else with your time, or you're just really relaxed, suddenly you get those, whoa, that's an incredible idea, right? So we have all had those. Anyway, before I get off topic, when it comes to art and I get an amazing idea, I just grab a piece of paper and sketch it out on the spot to the best of my ability. And this isn't about slowing down, taking your time, because you're not necessarily going to have that time when you get these ideas. The point of it is to just quickly put something down on paper, to basically take it out of your head, put it on paper, and then later on you can look at. So in this first example, I just wanted to draw a clown, so a jester from the medieval period. And I just want to use a whole bunch of different colors. And I love the way their costumes were designed in the past. And I decided to take some Prismacolors and throw a whole bunch of colors on it. Something about him smiling, posing with holding some type of lantern, which is going to light up the scene. That's the idea. Perhaps later on, some other time, I'll actually go ahead and design these out into a series of jester drawings. But for now, at least I have it on paper instead of in my head. And then you know what happens when it's just in your head and you don't actually write it down. Naturally, you'll forget it over time. All right, so this is the second one. It's just another jester. Yeah, the idea here was a different pose, wearing a different costume, doing something with his left hand, the way he's posing his legs in that spandex looking thing with patterns, red patterns that he's wearing. That's so far what I had, and I wanted to just quickly put that on paper. The third jester that I captured, pretty much similar to the second one, but this time I want to put this one in an environment where he's surrounded by props and carpets. Maybe he's holding a skull, maybe magician, I don't know, something along that line. But again, there are cool elements in this image that even if I don't end up creating this into an illustration piece, I can still look at this one and use elements for the previous designs that I just showed you. Here's another rough one. Yeah, this one is just like a short, fat jester, basically a series of pinkish to violet to purplish colors covering his costume and him playing some kind of a medieval instrument. What I really like about this one, if I was to color the background with that pinkish to violet to purple set of colors that I showed you in the previous one, but this time it's like, hey, why don't I use that for the background? And also something about that little thumbnail that I sketched where you can see that reddish cape that character's wearing. Again, I hope you're getting the point of this video. It's that when you get those amazing ideas in your head, obviously what you see in your head, you're not going to be able to capture it for many years properly. I say that because your art skills are not there compared to your imagination. So that's the whole point of training, bringing up your art skills so that what you see in your head can be transferred through your hand onto paper over time. But for me, at least, as rough as this image is, I still see that idea on paper, and it will help me remember basically what was I initially trying to do, what was in my head, instead of just thinking about it, forgetting about it, and then saying, one day I'll do something about it, which we both know it doesn't work that way. I really like this one. The idea is it's a knight on a horse with some of those medieval helmets are really pointy, and I wanted to really push that so that his helmet, for it to not just be pointy but to have like a bird's beak. Man, I have trouble saying that. And his shield, basically of a face or a lion that is engraved right into the shield. I think that's a really cool idea. And this one here was actually the first image that I put down, and then I decided to refine it into a better image. But again, it's a working sketch. It's not the final piece, which once again, it adds to my list of ideas that I could tap into anytime and work on them. This one is meant to be a medieval bazaar marketplace. I like narrow roads, basically. I don't like anything like wide roads. I like the narrow roads because it creates more character. They're harder to control. I know it's very challenging for me, but at the same time, I enjoy very much. So I put this idea down so that eventually, when I want to actually do something with a medieval street, I could look at this piece to get some ideas or continue working with this one. This one is extremely rough. That writing, sometimes I like to write backwards with my left hand. So it basically just says death riding black horse, character design, and the date. So the idea is a black horse and death, which is just covered in all black, whether he's wearing armor or just a full robe. He's just drawing his sword. It's the image I have in my head, and I would like to design that sometime. And this is part of that whole medieval narrow road design concept. This one is really rough and it's all over the place, but what I really like about it, it's if you look toward the little bridges and how the bridge is connecting both sides of the street, and how the road, or should I say the walking path, is just winding. Basically, it draws your eye right into the picture, like whether you're looking at the marketplace or all the way far out into the image. I don't know, it gives me a good sense. There's something about this image that works. I find that it flows correctly. The shot seems like it has potential, regardless of how horrible it looks right now. I'm pretty sure that if I work on this one, I can turn it into something worthwhile. Yeah, this one is just an idea about a mage that he's performing some kind of magic, and that little magical thing that he's doing is what's lighting up the scene. Dragon just burning up some hills, and people are trying to defend themselves. For this one, if you look at the dragon's left wing, the bottom of it, you see like I've used multiple colors, and that's kind of the idea. Like I want to use a lot of different colors projecting out of that scene somehow. I don't know, it looks cool, and I did it with pencil and Prismacolor, and maybe it's going to work out when I actually turn it into an actual design. I always wanted to draw a goblin, basically, but in this case, I want to use green light. I have no idea how I'm going to make that work, but the green light mixed with the candle, orangish yellow light. Anyway, that's the idea I saw in my head. This one, it's the stones with that reddish orangish carpet and the two angelic looking beings, maybe. But the point is, I want those wings just like the Jewish tabernacle, where the cherubim, basically the special angels, how their wings were touching. I'm like, wouldn't that be a cool idea, but on a fireplace? This one, I don't really know what's going on myself. It's just I started with that character sort of running and looking back, and then I ended up putting that, I guess, knightish looking character on a horse, and they're both looking at a direction because something's going on. And here's one where I was actually drawing, and then I got this idea while I was listening to Self-Control. It's an 80s song, Self-Control by, I believe it's Laura Bernigan. Anyway, I'll put the song in my description. While I was listening to that song, suddenly I got the idea about werewolves, a pack of werewolves with full moon in some kind of a dead forest, and they all have that 70s, 80s haircut to them. Basically, the idea is to have it all to resemble illustration from that time, but with werewolves. Don't ask me why. It's just, that's the idea I got in my head suddenly, and I was like, and I saw that image in my head, I was like, wow, that would look really cool. However, as you can see, the sketch looks horrible because, I can't draw at that level, and I just quickly put that down so that later on I could actually start referencing animals, forests, costumes, 70s, 80s haircut, different color palettes mixed. If I want to actually take this drawing idea and actually turn it into something that is more presentable. And yeah, I made some notes also. Werewolves with 70s haircut and color palette inspiration came while listening to Self-Control. So that's what I'm saying, is like you can get these crazy ideas throughout the day, and I think it's a waste if you don't capture some of them at least. Just put it on paper, stack it somewhere at the side, and you can always look at it for inspiration. You can always look at it for, just ideas that you can work with, turn them into concepts. And I wouldn't worry about not having the ability to actually draw these things out the way you see it in your head. I mean, that's just something you're going to have to earn with years of grinding as an artist. I mean, it's like saying, oh, I want to be an incredible mathematician and change this world for the better. Well, you're going to have to go back and learn math, elementary math, and you have to work your way up and eventually to trigonometry, algebra, physics. You get the idea. You have to go and learn these things in stages. Art is the same. I don't know why people treat it so lightly these days, like it's just something anybody can do. Well, anybody can do it provided they put in the work. Or if you see someone sketching and right away they get praised for, oh, you're so talented. It's like, well, maybe they are talented in the sense that they can pick this up faster than other people, but they still have to train. So when you can't draw, don't beat yourself over it. If you see someone on YouTube drawing really well, that person put in the time to get to that stage. And just because they're good at drawing certain things doesn't mean they're good at drawing everything. And I say that as an inspiration because, for example, you get really good at drawing vehicles because you've been studying how to draw vehicles. You've been, buying books on that. You've been sketching vehicles. You understand the mechanics and the anatomy of how vehicles are put together. And then you watch somebody drawing organic trees really well. Well, there's a good chance that person can draw cars like you. You see what I'm trying to say? It's the fact that you have to train at individual components. And this one, I basically would get ideas in my head about Art Nouveau mixed with Arabian architecture, pirate ship interior. These are completely random things, but it's things that are important to me that I actually would love to design all these things out over time. God willing, I live that long. A Victorian pirate ship, fire-breathing dragon, steam engine, vehicles, mechanical construction like the Da Vinci drawings, some kind of an illustration shot. I mean, you can see these are completely random. It's just I'm grabbing thoughts from my head and I'm trying to record it on paper. So in this case, that's supposed to be that city surrounded by these massive mountains, and there's this temple this main character is going to because he's on some sort of mission. A city entrance, the one on the very right bottom. I have no clue what's happening, but anyway, they all have potential to turn into something. So just to recap, the point of this video is that when you get drawing ideas, grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil or Prismacolors or crayons or a pen, basically whatever you like to work with. In my case, it's pencil and Prismacolor pencils, and just, do the little sketches. You don't have to show it to anybody, and just put them aside. That way you could free your mind so that your mind can work on creating new ideas instead of for you to try to remember these ideas in your head, which you naturally won't. You're just going to forget over time. And who knows, maybe you're going to visit them 5, 10, 20 years later, and you have a stack of these potentially amazing ideas that you can work with, whether you're going to use it to create your portfolio, I don't know, create illustration, images, books. Maybe you could even use these to create stories if that's something you want to get into, if you want to start writing. Anyway, I hope I have inspired you to start capturing your drawing ideas instead of just talking about it or thinking about it and then just forgetting about it. And if you have enjoyed watching this video, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button so that YouTube can push this video out and more people can find and be able to benefit from it as well. Thanks again for your time, and I'll see you soon.